As a longtime veteran of Payday 2, it's a marvel to see that the game is still going strong after all these years. It's a testament to how many things the game has done right to keep a consistent player base. However, it undoubtedly has a lot of things wrong with it as well. Sometimes they can be small issues, sometimes they're larger issues. Whatever the case is, these are issues that have not been addressed by the developers, and thus, we turn to modding. I've used many mods simply to improve the experience of the game, making life a little better, and today I wanted to share with you guys what I consider to be the top 10 best quality of life mods. This video is sponsored by Opera GX, a web browser made specifically for gamers. It's got a surprisingly sleek design and it's highly customizable, able to change the colors and hues to suit your taste. It even comes with extensions like a built-in forced dark mode, making the most blinding of sights bearable to the eyes. Both Twitch and Discord are integrated directly into the browser, so you'll never miss when your favorite streamer goes live, and you'll always stay connected with your community on Discord. There's even options to add messengers like WhatsApp and Facebook. If you're worried about performance while gaming, there's a handy feature in here called GX Control. This allows you to control exactly what kind of impact your browser is going to have by limiting the CPU and RAM usage, so you don't have to worry about impacting your performance while you game. Save your poor RAM from the oppression of Google Chrome. If you're switching over from a different browser, not to worry. Opera GX has an import feature that imports all of your bookmarks, history, and cookies without any effort at all. Opera GX also has a mobile app that is synced to your desktop version with all of the same features, making for a seamless browsing experience. And the best part, Opera GX is totally free. Download it today and tell me what you think about it. I'd love to hear your opinions. Before we begin, I wanted to make a quick disclaimer. Quality of life mods are not mods that include gameplay changes. They won't change how skills work, they won't mess with the difficulty, or AI behavior, or anything like that. These are simply mods that improve the gameplay experience in one way or another without directly affecting the intended gameplay from the developers themselves. This video will also not cover HUD mods, which some may arguably improve the quality of life, but more often than not, it toes the line between quality of life and excessive. So for this video, this isn't like a ranking or anything, since everybody values different aspects of quality of life differently. Much like the top 5 modded HUD videos I made, which, holy crap, that was a long time ago. This is based entirely on my subjective opinion. And finally, before moving on, I'll put a small tutorial on how to install these mods at the end of this video. So, stick around if you're new to modding. You ever just look at the sky, or maybe some other light sources for that matter, and think, my god, what the hell is all that on my screen? Well, this first mod just gets rid of that. Simple as that. This is one of the very first mods I ever downloaded, and probably one of the oldest mods ever to exist for the game. It's incredibly simple and straightforward. Basically, it's a retexture that gets rid of the weird, dirty camera texture when you're looking at certain light sources in the game. Most importantly, this mod also affects drill screens, so when you're looking at the screen, you can actually see the timer without all that weird dirt texture, which, honestly, I have no clue why it exists. Another quality of life mod that's just a texture swap. This mod replaces the really big silent killer suppressor with the old version, which is much smaller, much more sleek, and doesn't take up so much of the screen. Now, I have no clue why Overkill decided to update the game with this ugly tin can on your gun, but I can't really see a good reason. If it were for balance purposes, maybe it's supposed to make precision shots harder when you're aiming down sights or something. But since the silent killer suppressor is only on shotguns, you don't really need precision to begin with. In any case, this is a very small and minor change, but personally, it's a very handy mod, and especially for all the stealthers out there that like to bring a shotgun without looking at an ugly soda can for your suppressor. As someone that likes to run with a fairly high DPI for general use, and then lowers the sensitivity in games and FPSs, this simple mod is a godsend. For whatever reason, Payday's sensitivity values are much higher than other games, making it impossible for anyone with high DPI to compensate for it in the game. Now these days, lots of mice have DPI switchers, and there's also lots of software where you can edit all this, but it's still really annoying to have to manually switch every time you play Payday, and then switch back when you're done. This mod simply changes the available sensitivity values for the game and makes them lower, accompanying those like me with higher DPI. Now, I don't have to switch my DPI constantly just to be able to play the stupid game. Truly, quality of life mod in every sense of the word. One of Payday 2's strengths is having a robust system of skills, perks, and weapons that add nearly infinite variety to the game. However, one of Payday's major weaknesses is having a clunky inventory management system for all your guns. I like to stay organized and keep all of my guns that are alike together. Take, for example, pistols. I'll group up strong pistols or revolvers, then automatic pistols, then maybe mid-tier pistols, and finally weaker pistols. Now, as a longtime veteran since the beta of the game, Overkill has added countless weapons since the game's release. In doing so, it becomes harder and harder to organize my weapons, since first you have to equip a gun, then select move, then choose your spot, then click the place or double click to put it down. And thus, we have the drag and drop inventory mod. No more do you have to click a minimum of 5 times just to move one weapon, let alone an entire group of weapons. With this mod, you can just drag and drop in any place you want it to be, and it even works for all the pages that you might have. This saves an immeasurable amount of time, and it also saves your mouse as well. Are you a multitasker? Do you like to switch between programs a lot? Or maybe you have more than one monitor and you like to be able to switch stuff on the fly. Well, look no further, because this mod actually adds a borderless window option to the game. This is by far one of my most requested things ever since the game's release, and it has fallen on nothing but deaf ears. How in the holy hell does any modern game not have a borderless window option? It boggles the mind. Maybe it's laziness, maybe it's incompetence, maybe it's both. Even Raid World War II had a fucking borderless window option. But whatever the reason is, modders have yet again outdone themselves and added something incredibly useful for the community. All this mod does is force your game to center itself on your monitor and get rid of the border. Incredibly handy for streamers and multitaskers alike. This one's a pretty unique one. So, as every pro heister is aware, getting caught in a flashbang means your screen goes completely white, blinding you for a couple of seconds. Literally. I mean, like, if you like to play games in a dark room or at night, a sudden bright flash of white light really hurts your eyes. This mod simply changes it so that instead of a flashbang making your screen white, it just makes your screen black. You're getting no real tactical advantage from this since you're still blinded in the game, but now your eyes don't have to feel like they've just been staring at the sun. Ah, the ultimate lazy man's quality of life mod, and I approve 100%. This game is a bit of a meme when it comes to interaction. Every interaction is just circles on your screen, and every action in this game is just a long-ass holding interaction. Fix a drill, you gotta hold the button, 9 seconds. Pick a metal door, you're holding the button for like 20 seconds. And in the old days of stealth, when you're picking a metal safe, that took 45 fucking seconds. Well, here's a mod that makes it so that actions are simply on a press and use basis. There are different versions of this mod that affect different actions, but for the sake of showcasing it in game, I just chose the version that works on every interaction. Basically, instead of holding down your interaction button, you just press it, and the game will continue that action for you. This means less stress on your keyboard, less stress on your fingers, and more time sipping that sweet Mountain Dew and getting Cheeto dust off your neckbeard. For any avid Akimbo user out there, you'll know that one of the most frustrating things in this game is shooting twice for every time you pull the trigger. Now maybe this isn't such a big deal on weak weapons, but what about strong ones like the revolvers? The Akimbo Judge shotguns? It feels incredibly wasteful to shoot 2 shots every time instead of being able to control it and shoot just 1. Here's a mod that gives Akimbo weapons an alternative fire to shoot just a single gun instead of both at the same time. Just having the option to shoot 1 gun is something that I've always wanted for Akimbo weapons. With certain guns, you don't want to be wasting ammo, since it's much harder to come by, and in particular, stronger weapons also have the higher capability of one-shotting enemies, meaning that extra shot that you shoot is purely wasted. However, due to the game's limitations, even with this mod, it still looks like you're shooting both guns. but if you pay attention to the ammo counter, you're definitely only shooting one, so don't worry about that. So far, most of the mods we've covered have been fairly simple, no real options, but this one is much more customizable and robust. This one is for all the people that are unhappy with the way their view model looks and wants to tweak it. In a nutshell, it gives you complete control of the position of your hands and the gun, allowing you to change it to suit your tastes. There's a menu for the mod that you can mess around with, and this is a very subjective mod. Everyone will have different tastes, and what you change it to will just depend on what you like. This works on individual weapons, so if you just have an issue with, say, your rocket launcher secondary taking too much of your screen, you can go ahead and just change the view model of that. Last, but certainly not least, we have a custom map. This mod is called Enemy Spawner, and it does exactly as the name says. It's a custom map, which is basically a large sandbox, and you have the ability to spawn nearly anything in the game. From enemies to vehicles, you just spawn about anything you need to spawn. This is an incredibly handy mod for a few reasons. One, you can spawn passive enemies to test out weapons and builds that you've made and see how they work in real time without having to go through some website or do some calculations. Just see how your build performs in the actual game. There's even some neat features like a built-in green screen, if you need to take a screenshot of a model and you want to key out the background for whatever it is you're doing. Also, if you're bored, you can even have fun and test out the limits of the game's physics. I have an entire 10-minute video just fucking around and sending myself flying. Enter drive, enter drive, enter drive! Ah! Ah! There's like 3 of them in here. I spawned a bunch more than 3, but... So there you have it. The top 10 mods that I would consider to be some of the best quality of life mods in the game. I have used a great many of these for quite some time, and as long as they continue to work, I'll keep using it for as long as I can. Installing mods in Payday 2 is fairly simple these days. You basically only need to download 2 things for the majority of mods to work. First is Super BLT. You're going to want to go to the download page and click this button here. When you unzip the file you downloaded, you'll see that there's only one file in there, called WSOC32. What you need to do with this is drop it into your Payday Steam directory. You can find that in whatever hard drive you've installed the game under, and just go to Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and Payday 2. Just drop that WSOC file here, and then boot up your game. Upon startup, you'll be prompted to download an update. Just click yes or OK and let it do its thing. When it's done, close your game and come back to the same directory. You'll probably notice that you'll have some new files in here. Before we do anything else though, we're going to want to install Beardlib. So go to this page, download the file, unzip the folder, and drop the contents of that folder inside this mods folder. It should have been created when you installed Super BLT, but if there's nothing here, you can just go ahead and make a new folder called mods. Drop Beardlib inside of it, and now you're basically done. You can install almost any mod that you desire. For most people, you'll have 3 places of interest to note for installing mods. If you're installing texture or sound mods, those generally go into Assets, then Mod Overrides, and then just drop it in here. For Lua script mods, you'll want to put those under the Mods folder, alongside Beardlib. Not in it, just with it. And finally, for custom maps and heists, you'll want to put those in the Maps folder. Again, if this folder doesn't exist, just make the folder yourself, no need to worry. And that's basically it. The download pages for mods generally have directions for where to put the mod, or if you need to do something special, but the vast majority of stuff will be very straightforward. And that's my quick and dirty tutorial for installing mods. Thanks for watching.